I kept thinking about the 7-year-old boy next to me, and if things were scary for me, doctors and nurses, dress head to toe with face masks and face shields and full PPE. We're on all sorts of monitors and having all these different tests undertaken. I kept thinking, imagine how scary it is for that 7-year-old boy, and you can't have family members in the hospital. You're isolated, in an infectious ward. And so I was just trying to communicate with him, hand gestures and signals and things like that. But I think that's when everything really hit me about how real it was. Doctors and nurses clearly overworked, really stretched, under-resourced, and just doing whatever they could to keep people breathing, essentially. There was one particular memory which has really stuck with me from hospital, and it was one of my amazing nurses. Her name was Caitlin, and I was having an ECG, so a heart test at the time, and she was, administering that test, and she came back in and she was crying, and it was, selfishly, I thought, oh God, things must be really going pear-shaped, something must be quite wrong with me. And I asked her, was everything okay? And she explained that she'd lost her mum that morning. Her mum had passed away. And of course, she wasn't with her mum or couldn't be with her mum to say goodbye because of the lockdown. But here she was at work at hospital trying to help people like me. And that's when it crystallized quite, how dramatic and intense this circumstance was. She's grieving, yet she can't get any time off work to be with family and friends and do what's needed at a really tough time like that. That really affected me, and we've become friends and we've stayed in contact since. But there are a lot of those stories which I don't think we've heard here in New Zealand, because we've been relatively well managed with COVID until recently. And it's something that I think New Zealanders are really quite fortunate for, is that we haven't had to go through a lot of that heartache. It's not to say we won't. And the only way we can prevent that, of course, is to get vaccinated and make sure we don't get hospitalised.